Hello my friends. I have decided today that I was going to show you a couple more things concerning my essential oils. One of which I needed. I got up this morning and was cleaning house and realized that I was about out of my all-purpose cleaner that I love to use. I've used this for several years. I don't know, I'll say probably 6 or 7 years now, and I've tried all kinds of different recipes for different things for an all-purpose cleaner, and some of them I couldn't necessarily use as an all-purpose cleaner and so on and so forth, and yet I still don't use this on my floors. But as for cleaning in my kitchen, sanitizing my countertops and everything like that, just doing some surface cleaning around your cabinetry, getting lighter grease, well, somewhat heavier grease actually, off of things like your stove and so on and so forth. I even use this on spraying stains on my clothes, and it works good for that as well. But I've really grown to like it, and a lot of it's, anybody that's done any of this kind of stuff is kind of trial and error. And I like to be able to share that kind of thing so people don't have to jump through so many different recipes. But at the same time, you may still find something you like better than this. But I really love this one. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to I was out of my floor cleaner, which I recycle bottles. This was a really cool bottle. I liked it, and so I kept it. And it's actually got the recipe for my floor cleaner that I used to use all the time. And sometimes I still do this, which I just wrote it on the bottle because it just makes it convenient to get it mixed. Which on that, it says 3/4 cup of water, half a cup of vinegar, and half a cup of alcohol, which actually does really well. And it's really, you can use that for windows and stuff like that. It works really well. But I found another one I like too, especially since we've been in this house, because we've got so much dirt still outside that we're tracking in dirt. And so this one's got a little bit of soap in it. But I also added something else to this. I am adding it today from the original recipe, just to see if it does a little bit more pick-me-up on the yuck on the floor. So I'll get right into this though. And this one here is going to be for my all-purpose cleaner. A little thing also I like to do that's handy, I think, is I get these little photo albums from the Dollar General and stuff like that, and I write down most of mine's recipes. I've got a basket that actually has several of these in it this way, long ways, and I wrote on the surface of it, for canning, meats, vegetables, whatever, and this was kind of my miscellaneous one that I put my favorite recipes for this type of stuff and stuff like that, just miscellaneous things. I've got in here where I make clay for my grandkids to play with, and odd and end things. But anyway, so that's what we're going to do today. And here, all of those little Christmas balls, if you didn't see me doing that one, there's a video of that one where I took the cinnamon and the Mod Podge and painted on my little Christmas balls. So I got them all ready to come up with something to do with them for Christmas. Beginning with my all-purpose one, you have to, a lot of people don't realize that with borax, I keep a container with borax in it. A lot of times people don't realize that borax needs to be solidified, melted, to be able to operate properly in whatever you're putting it in, whether it be this type of cleaner or your laundry cleaner, because I use it in my laundry detergent as well. And I always melt it down in just a little bit of water, however much water. And this time I went ahead, since I was going to do my all-purpose cleaner and my floor cleaner, and borax is the thing I'm going to add to my floor cleaner this time that I haven't added to it. I want to see how it goes. But I try to get it, I've tried to get it here. I'll go ahead and put a little bit more water in it. You can use distilled water or whatever kind of water you feel like doing. As I said, I try to do a lot of things as natural as possible. I ain't totally there. As you can see, I've got me a silicone spatula right here. I went ahead and put that to a quarter so I know I'm getting exactly equal parts of the borax. With this recipe here, I melted down a teaspoon of borax, and I will pour, I made this a half a cup, so I'm going to pour a quarter of a cup of that in this. but melting it down helps it to do its thing. It operates better. This is a 2-cup measure I'm using this for. And it calls for then a cup of water. So I've already got this 1/4 cup here, so I'm just going to take it on up to a cup of water. And then I'm going to go ahead and add, you know, when you do this and you're not videoing, you kind of do it in your head and just do it. So it's kind of throwing me off here a little bit, but I'll show you what I do. This here, the next thing is castor oil. And this here is what I do with this. I like to, wish I had something to put it in for you to show you a little better, but this is, when I make my homemade soap and stuff like that, I use a crock pot when I do that. And after you're done with all of that, you tend to have a little bit of soap around the edges and stuff like that. And I also, whenever I have soap in the bathroom that you get down to whittle down to little bitty pieces, I put it in a jug. It's not this, it's a glass jug. It's a mason type jug, about half this size. And try to crumble it up a little bit, throw it down in there, and I keep a little water in it. And it just gradually, I keep it in my laundry room, and it gradually just, you know, melts back down. And then sometimes I'll get my wand blender and I'll chop it up to make it completely chopped up. I just listened to actually a lady that does that very thing for her laundry detergent, so I thought that was kind of cool. So I might even try how she said she done her laundry detergent. If I do, I'll show you, and I'll post her a link to hers as well, because I've really enjoyed watching her. So I got my cup of water, but with this here, after I've made my soap and all that kind of good stuff, I put some water in my crock pot and just turn it on high and let that little residue soap melt down into the bottom, and it makes like a liquid soap basically. Sometimes it's not strong enough to be a good liquid soap or whatever, but then I will pour it in this bottle, and I just kind of gradually add stuff to this bottle, and then I use this as my Castile soap because it's Castile soap. It's what it is, you know. And so that's what I'm using as my Castile soap. It calls for a 1/4 cup of Castile soap for this particular thing. Here's, I'm going to dump it out like this. And I usually, and I didn't do it this time, I wasn't thinking, but usually whenever I make my borax and I melt it in here, I actually put my Castile soap in here right after I take it off the eye, just to get that good incorporated, melted down into it really well, because I think it just melts down into it better, especially since you're bringing it through a spray bottle. So there's my Castile soap, and then you can put, which I generally put this after the fact. I don't put my essential oils in there until after I put it in here, because I feel like some of the essential oils get off on the sides of this and everything, and it just don't mix as well. So Castile soap, 1/4 cup of Castile soap, a teaspoon of borax melted, and 1 cup of water. That's all this right here is. I pour it in my bottle. I kind of had to edit this a moment. Like I said earlier, when you're doing this on the camera and you're doing it just for every day, you kind of makes a big difference. But I forgot an item to put in this, which is a very, very important item, is I use a teaspoon or a tablespoon of white vinegar in this as well. And that also helps with killing germs and such, and just neutralizing odors, because it's very good for neutralizing odors. So that is what I do with that. Forgive me. Now for my laminate floor cleaning. I have laminate floors, and it's been hard trying to find something to use that with. When I mentioned a while ago with the vinegar and alcohol, that tends to aid like a window cleaner, which also helps with a shine when it comes to your laminate flooring. So that's why, part of the reason I like this one. With this one, we're going to add 1 cup of water. That's my borax that I mentioned earlier that I had dissolved. 1 teaspoon of borax dissolved into 1 cup of water. Put it in. This is pretty equal part stuff here, for the most part. Then I'll add 1 cup of alcohol. Boy, that's exactly what I had in there. That might be a smidgen left. and 1 cup of vinegar. They're equal parts of all that. 1 cup of water, 1 cup of vinegar, and 1 cup of alcohol, and 1 teaspoon of melted borax, which is something I'm adding to this recipe today. I ain't sure about it yet, so if you want to, don't add that yet until you find out whether I wish I hadn't or glad I did. Once again, I'm going to go with 3 drops of tea tree oil. 1, 2, 3. And you can add other essential oils that you want to, just for fragrance, for to kill germs, so on and so forth. There's so many different ones out there. A lot of times it's seasonal for me. I tend to go back to my eucalyptus all the time, but sometimes in the spring and summer I'll use oranges and limes, and because I like a lot of the citrusy smells. And in around Christmas and stuff, I may use more Christmassy smells, cedarwood and well, I consider eucalyptus in on it, and one that I've really found that I absolutely love the smell of, and especially in my diffuser. I add this to my diffuser with eucalyptus is bergamot. I love bergamot, and I usually mix it with eucalyptus, rosemary, about equal parts of that, probably 5 drops of those, and then maybe 2 or 3 drops of peppermint. It's a really nice smell in my diffuser to me, so I like that. And I'm going to add a little bit of Kestrel soap, but you don't want to add nowhere near the Kestrel soap that we did in the all-purpose cleaner. So I'm just going to add like 4 or 5 drops, just enough to help it adhere to the floor somewhat, and give it a little something extra. And that's it on that. And that's my laminate flooring. You can try it on the hardwood flooring. I also like to use a lot of these things when I dust. I tend to dampen my cloth that I don't use, furniture polish from the grocery store or whatever. I tend to dampen my cloth that I'm wanting to use, and I try to use a lint-free cloth. And then I'll sometimes spray it just a tad if I feel like I need a little extra something. Spray it just a tad with a little something. Sometimes it's this, sometimes it's my all-purpose cleaner, just according to what kind of mood I'm in or what's near me at the time. And I also make a polish though that I use when I do like more of a deeper cleaning to my wood, a conditioning to my wood and stuff. And I'll try to do a video on that one day as well. But this is basically these 2 items that is my main things I use around my house to clean house, and there's nothing really toxic about it. I do have plastic bottles, as you see, and gradually I guess I'll graduate into something better than that. It's hard because I love the spray bottle. It's easy to use when it comes to that. So that's one of them things I haven't graduated to yet, but would like to. Now, thank you for watching. I hope this helps some of you guys, and if you have any comments or anything like that, I'd like you to share them, and I'd appreciate it if you could even share the videos. I would be grateful. But anyway, God bless you guys. I hope you have a great week.